Hi, welcome back to Tom Dave's Live. Today we have Courtney Twiss. Courtney, how are you today?
I'm great, Tom. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Well, if you don't mind, if you could share to our viewers, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Northern California, Yuba City specifically, which is north of Sacramento, and went to college up in Chico State. Yay, go Chico, where I met my husband. And we ended up moving back to his hometown, which is how I ended up in the beautiful town of Mariposa outside Yosemite, which is where I live now. And I've lived for 20 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So, Northern California, what are some of the things that you've enjoyed from being, living in Northern California and growing up here?
I mean, I've always loved the outdoors, which is also why I like living in Yosemite area. And then when we lived in Chico, there's a lot of hiking and outdoor activities. I also love playing sports, and now my three kids do as well, which keeps us nice and busy, as you can imagine.
Oh, awesome. Tell us a little bit more about your family. I know you have beautiful family.
Yep. So my husband and I have been married for 20 years, and we have three daughters. So three girls, 17, 13, and 11. And like I said, they're very active, great kids. We've got a little farm that we live on. So we live on 13 acres with cows and donkeys and chickens, the whole shebang. So it's quite a fun lifestyle.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. I always see your posts on social, and you definitely
Hmm.
have a great family and a busy life. So that's great. So
Hmm.
let's hear, if we could hear, if you don't mind, could you share your real estate story? What inspired you to
Sure.
get into real estate in the first place?
Well, out of college, I went to school for marketing and Spanish, actually, and I worked in the Central Valley for a few years in the finance industry doing lending. So I've actually overlapped with lending and real estate for 20 years now, long time. And I ended up kind of getting out of the lending side and focusing more on the real estate side, starting in 2007. And I did it for a lifestyle choice, like I think so many other realtors, especially moms, do, where I was creating the work style to support our lifestyle. I wanted to work and live in the community of Mariposa and not have to commute down to the Central Valley.
Wow, well, that's great. So, if you don't mind, could you share your real estate journey and the different companies that you worked for? And I know you have a very
Hmm.
successful independent brokerage. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, 2011, I got my broker's license and I founded Twiss Realty, which is an independent boutique real estate brokerage. We grew it to actually nearly 40 agents strong, kind of hovered around 30 for the bulk of it, and have had three locations, Mariposa, Oakhurst, which are the two offices outside the Yosemite corridor, and then down in the Fresno market as well. And then on top of that, I also owned a lending company called Healthy Lending, which we created to support our mission, which is something that we call healthy homeownership. And it's actually a 10-step buyers program where we help first-time home buyers navigate this affordability issue that we're seeing that's so prevalent, especially in California. And then, of course, I can't be in real estate for 20 years without being an investor. So my husband and I have rentals. And a few years ago, we actually purchased a boutique hotel in downtown Mariposa. So that's been a lot of fun, renovating the rooms. It's from the 1930s. If anyone that knows me knows that I like a project, so we always have our hands in something.
Wow, well, that's great. And I know everyone that I talk to, they just love you. Anyone from your brokerage to I've heard from your clients. What do you enjoy the most with your current role?
I enjoy mentoring my team, kind of leading leaders, I guess would be the role I've had for the last few years. I've stepped out of the production role in the last couple of years and focused on my team, building my organization. As a broker, I think it's all about scaling. And how do we scale? We scale through our people and improving their production and just bringing on like minded individuals, which is what actually brought me to EXP to begin with.
Yeah, well, I'd love to hear more about that. So you could have joined any real estate brokerage. So what inspired you to join
Mhm.
eXp Realty?
Well, it was a long process. I think, like many indie brokers out there, your initial reaction is, no EXP, don't talk to me about EXP, right? I'm an indie girl. I've been an indie girl for 20 years. I've never worked with a franchise or a large corporation. And it took about 8 months or so of mentorship with your partner, Don Yoakum, where he was doing some coaching for me behind the scenes, helped me through the market, which was tough at the beginning of this year. And I think many independent brokers can relate to some of the same pain points that I had as this market has been, changing and cycling with the interest rates and just the natural flow of our real estate market. So I started doing my due diligence and looking deeply into different options, whether that was sticking the path and staying an independent broker and just kind of powering through, which I could have done. We definitely are my husband and I focus on not carrying a lot of debt and know that we can weather storms. Being that I grew my real estate career throughout the recession, I learned a lot of lessons the hard way and said I would never do that again. However, I finally realized after connecting with you and Don and Randy Bird and Brent Gove that how could I pass up this opportunity to work with the powerhouse? And while the rev share and the downstream are critical and a big part of my decision making for joining EXP, it's actually the upstream and how important who you choose as your sponsor and your support team is. And knowing that I could work with you guys was a big draw for me.
Well, that's great. And I agree. That was one of the reasons that I also decided to join eXp Realty was just the collaboration with the best of class
Mm-hmm.
in every category. And it's really exciting that you've joined eXp, you've partnered with us and taken advantage of
Mm-hmm.
the new Boost program where the new Boost
Yeah.
program where eXp actually has incentives for the transition for independent brokerages. So that's super exciting. So, well, we're honored that we're partnered with you. And if anyone wants to reach out, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can reach me on my cell, 209-769-0532, or better yet, just book a 15 or 30-minute call with me at courtneytwiss.me. I'd be happy to chat, especially if you're an independent broker or a team lead and you just want to have an open conversation about how this process has worked for me. I'm a straight shooter, so I'd be happy to talk to you.
Well, awesome. So if any of you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Courtney or myself, and we'd love to share. So thank you, Courtney. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.
Thank you, Tom.